My husband Marcus stood in the doorway of our kitchen like a storm that had just rolled in. No hello. No how was your day, Candace? Just 3 words that cut through the air like a knife. The mortgage is due. I looked up from my cup of tea and met his eyes. I didn't say anything at first. I just let those words sit there between us, like an unwelcome guest at Sunday dinner. Did you hear me? He said, his voice getting louder. The mortgage is due. It was supposed to be paid last week. The bank called me at work today. I took a slow sip of my tea, Earl Grey with honey, the way I'd been making it for 23 years in this house. 23 years of waking up early, making breakfast, packing lunches, paying bills, keeping everything running smooth while Marcus climbed that corporate ladder. I heard you, I said quietly. Well, he threw his briefcase on the counter, papers scattered everywhere. Are you going to tell me what happened? Why didn't you pay it? I set down my cup very carefully. My hands were steady, even though my heart was beating fast in my chest. Because, I said, looking him straight in his eyes, according to your will, this house doesn't belong to me, so why should I pay for something that isn't mine? The color drained from his face. For the first time in months, I had his full attention. Let me tell you how I got to this moment, how I went from being Marcus Green's devoted wife to the woman who stopped caring about his bills. It started 6 weeks ago, on a Tuesday that felt like any other Tuesday. Before we continue, please drop a comment if you've ever experienced something like this. We'd love to hear your story. And subscribe to the channel to help us hit that big 1,000 subscriber milestone. Marcus had left for work early that morning. He had a big presentation, or so he said. These days, everything was a big presentation, a crucial meeting, an important client dinner. He was working late almost every night, coming home smelling like perfume that wasn't mine, with excuses that got weaker and weaker. I knew something was wrong. I'm not stupid. After 23 years of marriage, you know when your husband is lying to you. You know when he stops looking you in the eyes. You know when he stops asking about your day. You know when the man you built a life with starts treating you like a roommate he tolerates. But I didn't have proof, and without proof, what could I say? Marcus, I think you're cheating on me because you smell like vanilla perfume, and we both know I wear jasmine. He would just deny it, call me paranoid, tell me I was being dramatic. So I waited, and I watched, and I prayed about it at Greater Hope Baptist Church every Sunday, asking God to give me strength for whatever was coming. That Tuesday morning, after Marcus left, I was cleaning his home office. He'd asked me not to go in there anymore. Said he had important work documents that couldn't be disturbed. But the trash was overflowing, and I could smell old coffee cups from the hallway. I pushed open the door with my hip, carrying my cleaning supplies. The morning sun was streaming through the windows, lighting up the dust particles in the air. His desk was a mess, papers everywhere, sticky notes, coffee rings on every surface. I started with the trash can, pulling out the plastic bag. That's when I saw it. A manila envelope sticking out from under a stack of folders. The words on the tab made my blood run cold. Last Will and Testament, Marcus James Green. My hands started shaking. Why would Marcus have updated his will without telling me? We'd made our wills together 10 years ago, after his father passed. Everything was supposed to go to each other. and then to our daughter, Aaliyah, when we were both gone. I told myself to put it back, to walk away, to pretend I never saw it. But I couldn't. I pulled out the envelope and opened it. My legs felt weak, so I sat down in Marcus's leather chair, the expensive one he'd bought last year without asking me, the one that cost more than our first car. The first few pages were standard legal language. I skipped through them, my eyes scanning for the important parts. Then I found it. I hereby bequeath all my worldly possessions, including but not limited to the marital home located at 847 Maple Grove Drive, all bank accounts in my name, my 401k, my life insurance policy, my vehicle, 2023 Mercedes S-Class, and all other assets to Simone Rochelle Mitchell. Simone Rochelle Mitchell, not Candice Marie Green, his wife of 23 years, not Aaliyah Nicole Green, his daughter. Simone Rochelle Mitchell. I read it again and again and again, hoping the words would change, hoping I was seeing things wrong. But they stayed the same. Everything. He was leaving everything to this woman, this Simone person, his mistress. I sat in that chair for almost an hour, just staring at those words. The house I'd turned into a home. The savings account I'd contributed to every month. The life insurance policy I'd reminded him to pay. All of it was going to her. My phone buzzed. A text from my best friend Keisha. Lunch today? I need to tell you about this mess at my job. I couldn't respond. My fingers wouldn't move. I just sat there, holding that will, feeling like the floor had opened up beneath me. 23 years. I had given this man 23 years. I'd worked full-time as a school counselor while also managing our entire household. I'd raised our daughter practically by myself because he was always too busy with work. I'd supported his dreams, his promotions, his late nights at the office. I'd forgiven the times he forgot our anniversary. I'd smiled through the family gatherings where his mother made little comments about my cooking, my hair, my weight, and this was how he repaid me. I took pictures of every page with my phone. Then I carefully put the will back, exactly where I found it. I finished cleaning his office like nothing happened. I went through the rest of my day on autopilot, did the laundry, went to the grocery store, prepared dinner. When Marcus came home that night at almost 10 o'clock, I was sitting in the living room watching TV. "Hey, baby," he said, barely looking at me. "Sorry I'm late. That presentation ran long. Then we had to take the clients out for drinks." I said. He went upstairs. I heard the shower running. I thought about confronting him right then, throwing those pictures in his face, demanding answers. But something stopped me. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was strategy. Maybe it was the voice of my grandmother in my head, telling me what she used to say. "Baby, when you know somebody is playing you, don't show your hand too early. Let them think they're winning. Then hit them when they least expect it." So I waited. The next day, I called my girl Keisha. We met at our favorite spot, Mama Jean's Soul Food Kitchen on the South Side. The kind of place where the sweet tea is so sweet it makes your teeth hurt, and the mac and cheese is so good it makes you want to cry. We got our usual booth in the back. Keisha took one look at my face and knew something was wrong. "What happened?" she asked, reaching across the table to grab my hand. I pulled out my phone and showed her the pictures. Keisha's eyes got bigger and bigger as she scrolled through them. When she finished, she put the phone down and said a word that would have gotten us both slapped by our mothers in church. "That dirty, low-down, no good," she started. "I know," I said. "Everything? He's leaving you nothing?" "Nothing. After 23 years? 23 years. Keisha sat back in the booth, shaking her head. "Candace, what are you going to do?" That was the question, wasn't it? What was I going to do? I could divorce him right now, hire a lawyer, fight for my half of everything, but divorce is expensive. Divorce is messy. And the will didn't matter anyway. Legally, as his wife, I was entitled to my share regardless of what he put in some document. But something else was bothering me more than the money. It was the disrespect, the audacity, the fact that he thought he could do this to me, and I would never find out. That he could keep living in our house, eating the food I cooked, sleeping in the bed I made, while planning to give everything to another woman. "I'm going to stop," I said finally. "Stop what?" "Everything. I'm going to stop doing everything I've been doing for him." Keisha looked confused. "What do you mean?" "I mean," I said, my voice getting stronger, "if this house isn't going to be mine, why should I take care of it? Why should I pay the mortgage? Why should I pay the utilities? Why should I do his laundry? Why should I cook his meals? Why should I do anything for him at all?" A slow smile spread across Keisha's face. "Candace Marie Thompson, I mean Green, are you about to be petty?" "I'm not being petty," I said. "I'm being smart. If Marcus wants to leave everything to Simone, then Marcus and Simone can take care of everything." "I'm done." "But won't he notice?" "Oh, he'll notice," I said, "eventually. But by then, maybe he'll understand what he's losing." That's when my plans started. It was simple, really. I would stop contributing financially to anything that would become Simone's according to that will. The house, the cars, the bills. I opened a new bank account that Marcus didn't know about. I started having my paychecks deposited there. I kept paying for my own things, my car payment, my phone bill, my personal expenses. But the joint account, I let Marcus handle that completely. The first week, nothing happened. Marcus didn't even notice. He was too busy with his late meetings and important clients. The second week, he asked me if I'd seen the credit card bill. I told him it must be in his office. He grumbled but paid it himself. The third week, he asked why I hadn't gone grocery shopping. I told him I'd been busy with work. He ordered takeout for 3 days straight. The fourth week, the lawns started looking rough. Marcus asked why I hadn't called the lawn service. I told him I thought he was handling it. He got annoyed but called them himself. I watched him slowly realize that things weren't running as smoothly as they used to. But he still didn't understand why. He just thought I was being lazy or going through something. Then came week 5. The mortgage was due on the 1st of the month. I usually paid it on the 25th just to make sure it was never late. This time, I didn't. The 1st passed, then the 5th, then the 10th. The bank sent a notice, then another notice. Finally, on the 15th, Marcus got that phone call at work. The one that made him realize something was very, very wrong. And that's how we ended up here, with Marcus standing in our kitchen, demanding to know why I hadn't paid the mortgage. With me sitting calmly with my tea, ready to blow his whole world apart. "What are you talking about?" Marcus said now, his voice shaking. What will? How do I know? I stood up from my chair. I found it, Marcus, 6 weeks ago, hidden in your office under a stack of papers, your will. The one where you leave everything, and I mean everything, to Simone Rochelle Mitchell. His mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. Who is she, Marcus? I asked, my voice calm even though I wanted to scream. How long have you been with her? And how long were you planning to keep me in the dark about the fact that you're giving our entire life to another woman? Candace, I can explain. Can you? I walked toward him. Can you explain why my husband of 23 years decided I'm not worth a single dollar of what we built together? Can you explain why you've been lying to me for months? Can you explain why you think so little of me, that you didn't even bother to hide your will properly? It's not what you think. Then what is it, Marcus? What is it? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you've been planning to throw me away like yesterday's trash while you start a whole new life with this Simone woman. Marcus ran his hands over his face. Baby, please, don't you baby me, I said. You lost the right to call me that when you put another woman's name in your will. I was going to change it, he said desperately. I swear I was going to change it back. When? After you died and I found out I was homeless? After this Simone person showed up at my door with legal papers telling me to get out? He couldn't answer that. You know what the funny thing is, I said. I would have given you a divorce if you'd just asked. If you'd come to me like a man and said, Candace, I'm not happy, I want out, I would have been hurt, but I would have respected it. We could have split things fairly. We could have ended things with some dignity. But you didn't do that. You snuck around. You lied. You made plans to take everything and leave me with nothing. That's not... I never meant... Marcus was sweating now, backing away from me. So here's what's going to happen, I said. You want this house? You pay for it. You want the cars? You pay for them. You want the lights on and the water running? You handle it. Because I'm not paying for one more thing that's going to end up in Simone's name. But we're married. We share these expenses. I laughed, actually laughed. Oh, now we're married. Now we share things. Interesting how you remember we're married when you need money, but you forget when you're updating your will. Candace, please, just let me explain everything. No, I said firmly. I'm done listening to your explanations. I'm done being the wife who believes every lie. I'm done being the woman who holds everything together while you tear it all apart. I walked past him toward the stairs. Where are you going? He called after me. To bed, I said. My bed. In the guest room, where I've been sleeping for the past 6 weeks while you've been too busy to notice. I left him standing there in the kitchen, surrounded by his scattered papers and his scattered lies. That night, I lay in the guest room bed, staring at the ceiling. My phone buzzed. It was Keisha. Girl, did you do it? I did it. How did he react? Like a man who just realized he's been caught. What are you going to do now? I thought about that question. What was I going to do now? Then it hit me. I knew exactly what I needed to do next. But first, I needed to meet Simone. The next morning, I called in sick to work. First time in 3 years I'd used a sick day for something that wasn't actually being sick. But I had things to do, important things. I started with Marcus's credit card statements. While he was in the shower getting ready for work, I went into his office and pulled up his bank accounts on the computer. He'd never changed his passwords, still used Aaliyah's birthday for everything, which would have been sweet if he wasn't using it to hide his dirt. What I found made my stomach turn. Restaurants I'd never been to, hotels downtown, jewelry purchases from stores I'd never heard of, a charge from a women's clothing boutique for $800. Flowers delivered multiple times a month, never to our address. But the biggest one, a rent payment, every month, like clockwork, $1,500 to something called Metropolitan Luxury Apartments. Marcus was paying her rent with our money, money from our joint account, money I'd been contributing to for years. I took screenshots of everything, every charge, every date, every dollar amount. Then I did something I probably shouldn't have done. I looked up the address for Metropolitan Luxury Apartments. 20 minutes across town, in the new development near the river, the fancy area where all the young professionals were moving, where the condos had floor-to-ceiling windows and doormen in uniforms. I grabbed my purse and my keys. "Where are you going?" Marcus asked when he saw me heading for the door. He was in the kitchen making coffee, his own coffee, because I'd stopped doing that too. "Out," I said. "Candace, we need to talk." "No, Marcus, you need to talk. To your mistress, to your lawyer, to whoever will listen to your excuses, but you don't need to talk to me anymore." I left him standing there with his mouth open. The Metropolitan Luxury Apartments were everything the name promised. Sleek glass building, modern architecture, that expensive look that screamed, "You can't afford to live here on a teacher's salary." I parked in the visitor spot and sat in my car for a minute. What was I doing? Was I really about to confront my husband's mistress in the middle of a Wednesday morning? Yes, I was. I walked into the lobby. The doorman looked at me with that polite smile they give people they think might not belong. "Can I help you?" he asked. "I'm here to see Simone Mitchell," I said, standing tall. My grandmother's voice in my head again. "Never let them see you sweat, baby. Never let them know they got to you." "Is she expecting you?" "No, but tell her Candace Green is here. She'll know who I am." The doorman picked up his phone, spoke quietly for a moment, then looked surprised. "She says to send you up. Apartment 147, 12th floor." The elevator ride felt like it took forever. My heart was pounding, my hands were sweating, but I kept my face calm, my back straight. The elevator doors opened on the 12th floor. Expensive carpet, soft lighting, the kind of hallway that smelled like money. Apartment 1247 was at the end of the hall. The door was already open. A woman stood there waiting for me. Simone Mitchell was younger than I expected. Mid-30s maybe, with honey blonde highlights in her long weave, perfectly done makeup, and a body that looked like she had a personal trainer. She was wearing designer loungewear, the kind that costs more than my Sunday church outfit. She looked me up and down. I did the same to her. "Candace," she said. Her voice was soft, almost apologetic. "Come in." I stepped into her apartment. It was beautiful. Open floor plan, modern furniture, art on the walls. Through the windows, I could see the whole city spread out below us. All of this paid for with my money. "Can I get you something to drink?" Simone asked, like we were old friends meeting for brunch. "No," I said. "I'm not here for hospitality. I'm here for answers. She nodded slowly and sat down on her white leather couch. I stayed standing. How long? I asked. 2 years, she said quietly. 2 years, not months, years. Does he love you? Simone looked away. He says he does. Does he tell you he's going to leave me? He says he will, when the time is right. I laughed. I couldn't help it. When the time is right, girl, let me tell you something. Men like Marcus, the time is never right. They'll keep you waiting forever, promising you tomorrow, while they keep their wife at home for the benefits. That's not, she started. That's not what? I cut her off. That's not what he tells you? Let me guess. He says I don't understand him. He says we're basically just roommates now. He says he's only staying for appearances' sake, or for our daughter, or because divorce is too expensive. Am I getting warm? Simone's face told me. I was hitting every nail on the head. Here's something he probably didn't tell you, I said, pulling out my phone. He updated his will, left everything to you, the house, the cars, the savings, all of it. For the first time, Simone looked genuinely shocked. What? No, he didn't tell me. Of course he didn't. Because Marcus is playing both of us. He's got me at home paying half the bills, maintaining his house, keeping up his respectable married image. And he's got you here in this fancy apartment, making him feel young and exciting again. He's got the best of both worlds, and neither of us is getting what we deserve. Simone's eyes filled with tears. I didn't know he was... I thought... You thought you were special? I said, not unkindly. Honey, we all think we're special at first, but a man who cheats with you will cheat on you. Trust me on that. So what do you want from me? She asked, wiping her eyes. I want you to understand something, I said. That will? It doesn't mean anything. Legally, as his wife, I get half of everything, no matter what some paper says. So if Marcus is making you promises about a future where you inherit his house and live happily ever after, he's lying to you just like he lied to me. Simone looked like I'd slapped her. But here's what I'm going to offer you, I continued. I'm going to divorce Marcus. I'm going to take my half of everything we built together. And then you can have him, all of him, the late nights when he claims he's working, the lies about where he's been, the credit card bills, the mortgage payments, the car insurance, the reality of Marcus James Green, not the fantasy version he's been selling you. Why are you telling me this? Simone asked. Because I spent 23 years with a man who lied to me, and I'm done being lied to. I'm also done watching other women get played by the same man. You want Marcus? You can have him. But you're going to have him broke, because I'm taking what's mine. I turned to leave. Candace? Simone called after me. I stopped at the door. I'm sorry, she said. For what it's worth, I really am sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't want to hurt anyone. Then you shouldn't have dated a married man, I said. But I appreciate the apology anyway. I left her apartment and got back in my car. My hands were shaking now. Adrenaline and anger and something else. Pride, maybe. I'd done it. I'd looked my husband's mistress in the eye and walked away with my dignity intact. My phone rang. It was Keisha. Girl, where are you? I've been calling all morning. I just confronted Marcus's mistress. Dead silence. Then, I'm sorry, you did what? I told her everything. The apartment, the conversation, the look on Simone's face when I told her about the will. Candace, you are officially my hero, Keisha said. But what are you going to do now? You can't just keep living in that house with Marcus pretending everything is normal. I know, I said. That's why my next stop is a lawyer's office. I'd already made the appointment before I left home. Keisha had given me the name of her cousin Ty, short for Tyrell, who was a divorce attorney downtown. She said he was sharp, he didn't play games, and he especially didn't play when it came to husbands trying to cheat their wives out of what they deserved. Tyrell Washington's office was in a professional building near the courthouse. When I walked in, his receptionist smiled at me warmly. You must be Mrs. Green. Ty is expecting you. Go right in. Tyrell was younger than I expected, maybe 40, with a clean-cut fade and an expensive suit. His office walls were covered with degrees and certificates, Howard University Law School, various bar associations, awards for community service. Mrs. Green, he said, standing up to shake my hand. Keisha's told me a little bit about your situation. Please sit down. I sat down and told him everything. The will, the mistress, the apartment Marcus was paying for, the bills I'd stopped paying, all of it. Tyrell listened carefully, taking notes. When I finished, he sat back in his chair and smiled. Mrs. Green, I'm going to be honest with you. Your husband made a lot of mistakes, but his biggest mistake was underestimating you. What do you mean? I mean you have him cornered. That will? Like you already figured out, it's worthless in terms of marital assets. You're entitled to half of everything acquired during the marriage, regardless of what he wrote in any will. The apartment he's been paying for with joint funds. That's dissipation of marital assets. The credit card charges for gifts to his mistress. Same thing, we can make him pay back every penny he spent on her. Really? Really? And that's just the beginning. You said you've stopped paying the household expenses? Just the ones that he's leaving to her in the will. I figured if it's not going to be mine anyway. Smart, Tyrell interrupted. Very smart. That shows you're not trying to sabotage him out of spite. You're just declining to pay for assets that he's declared won't belong to you. That's perfectly reasonable. So what happens now? Now we file for divorce. We document everything, every affair expense, every lie, every penny he spent on maintaining his mistress while you were maintaining his home. We ask for alimony because you contributed to the household and supported his career advancement. We ask for your half of all assets, including the house, cars, retirement accounts, everything. And we make sure the judge knows exactly what kind of man Marcus Green is. For the first time in weeks, I felt hope. How long will this take? It depends. If he wants to fight, it could take a year or more. If he's smart and settles, maybe 6 months. But either way, Mrs. Green, I promise you, we're going to make sure you get everything you deserve. I left Tyrell's office feeling lighter than I had in months. I had a plan, I had a lawyer, I had proof of everything Marcus had done. I went home and started packing, not leaving, not yet, but getting ready. I packed all my important documents into boxes. My birth certificate, my passport, my college diplomas, my grandmother's jewelry. I opened a safe deposit box at a different bank and put everything in there. Then I did something that felt both petty and necessary. I stopped cleaning his spaces. His office stayed messy. His bathroom stayed dirty. His laundry piled up. If he wanted clean clothes, he could wash them himself. Marcus noticed. How could he not? "Candace, what's going on with you?" he asked one night. "The house is falling apart. Nothing is getting done. You're acting like what?" I asked. "Like a woman who just found out her husband is leaving everything to his mistress. Like a wife who discovered her husband has been lying for 2 years. Acting like that, Marcus." He had no answer. The next Sunday, I went to Greater Hope Baptist Church, like always. But this time, I didn't sit quietly in the back like I'd been doing for weeks. I sat with Keisha in our regular spot, 3rd row from the front. Pastor Williams was preaching about liberation, about breaking free from things that bind us, about having the courage to walk away from what's hurting us. "Sometimes," he said, his voice carrying through the sanctuary, "God has to remove people from your life, not as punishment, but as protection. Sometimes the blessing isn't in what you gain, it's in what you lose." I felt like he was speaking directly to me. After service, Sister Dorothy from the women's ministry came up to me. "Candace, baby, we haven't seen you at our meetings lately. Is everything okay?" I looked at this woman who'd known me for 15 years, who'd been at my wedding, who'd helped throw Aaliyah's baby shower, who'd brought me casseroles when my mother passed away. "No," I said honestly, "everything is not okay, but it's going to be." Sister Dorothy squeezed my hand. "Whatever you're going through, you're not alone. You hear me? We're here." That made me cry. Standing in the church parking lot in my Sunday best, I cried. Not sad tears exactly, relief tears, because I realized I wasn't alone. I had Keisha, I had Tyrell, I had my church family. I had people who cared about me as more than just Marcus Green's wife. When I got home, Marcus's car wasn't in the driveway. Probably with Simone, I thought. Probably trying to do damage control after my visit. I went inside and found an envelope on the kitchen counter. My name was on it in Marcus's handwriting. Inside was a letter. "Candace, that's all soon." He said, "I know you're angry. I know I hurt you. But I need you to understand, I never meant for any of this to happen. Simone was a mistake. The will was a mistake. All of it was a mistake. I love you. I've always loved you. Please, let's try to work this out. We can go to counseling. We can start over. I'll do whatever it takes. Just don't give up on us. Don't give up on 23 years. Please, Marcus." I read the letter 3 times. Then I did something that surprised even me. I laughed. He thought he could fix this with a letter? He thought I never meant for any of this to happen, was going to undo 2 years of lies. He thought I was going to forgive him and go back to being the wife who held everything together while he tore it all apart. I took the letter, walked to Marcus's office, and left it on his desk with a note of my own. "Too little, too late. My lawyer will be in touch." The next morning, I woke up to find Marcus had paid the overdue mortgage and the utilities and the credit card bills. He'd also left another note. "I paid everything. We can figure this out. We just need to talk." But we didn't need to talk. There was nothing left to say. That afternoon, Tyrell called me. "Mrs. Green, I have news. I filed the divorce papers this morning. Marcus should be served at work by the end of the week." "Thank you, Ty." "But there's something else," he said, his voice changing. "I did some digging into your husband's finances like you asked, and I found something interesting. What? Marcus has another bank account, one you don't know about, and Candace? He paused. There's over $300,000 in it. My blood ran cold. What? $300,000? It looks like he's been siphoning money from your joint accounts for at least a year, maybe longer. Small transfers that wouldn't raise suspicion. 500 here, 1,000 there, building up this secret account. For what? My guess? He was planning to leave you with nothing. Take the money and run. Start a new life with Simone while you're left holding the mortgage on a house he was going to claim in his will. I sat down hard on the couch. Marcus hadn't just been cheating on me. He'd been planning to financially destroy me. What do we do? I asked, my voice shaking. We freeze that account, Tyrell said. We present this evidence to the judge as proof that he was planning to hide marital assets, and we make him regret ever trying to play you. Do it, I said. Do all of it. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about that $300,000. Money that could have paid off our house. Money that could have sent Aaliyah to graduate school debt-free. Money that Marcus had stolen from our future to build a life without me. At 2 a.m, my phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. This is Simone. I need to talk to you. It's important. Please. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I typed back. What is it? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, her message came through. I'm pregnant, and Marcus doesn't know yet. I need your advice on what to do. I stared at Simone's message until my eyes hurt. Pregnant. She was pregnant with Marcus's baby. I should have been devastated. I should have thrown my phone across the room and screamed and cried. But you know what I felt instead? Nothing. No, that's not quite right. I felt free. Because this wasn't my problem anymore. This was Marcus's problem and Simone's problem. But it wasn't mine. I typed back, congratulations, but I'm not the person you should be talking to about this. That's between you and Marcus. Good luck with everything. I blocked her number and went to sleep. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter than I had in years. I made myself a real breakfast, not the quick grab-and-go I'd been doing for weeks. Scrambled eggs with cheese, turkey bacon, grits, and orange juice. I sat at the kitchen table and actually enjoyed my food. Marcus came downstairs looking like he hadn't slept. His eyes were red, his clothes wrinkled. Morning, he said quietly. Morning. Candace, please. We need to talk about... That's when the doorbell rang. Marcus looked at me. I looked at him. Neither of us moved. The doorbell rang again. Marcus went to answer it. I stayed at the table, eating my eggs, listening. Marcus James Green? A man's voice asked. Yes? You've been served. I heard papers rustling, then silence. Then Marcus's footsteps coming back to the kitchen. He stood in the doorway holding the divorce papers, his face pale. You're really doing this, he said. It wasn't a question. Yes. After everything we've been through, after 23 years, you're just throwing it all away? I set down my fork and looked at him, really looked at him. This man I'd loved, trusted, built a life with. No, Marcus, I said calmly. You threw it away. 2 years ago when you started sleeping with Simone. 1 year ago when you started stealing money from our joint accounts. 6 months ago when you updated your will To leave everything to her. I'm not throwing anything away. I'm just refusing to hold on to garbage. Stealing money? What are you talking about? The $300,000, Marcus, in the secret account you thought I didn't know about. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? His face went from pale to gray. My lawyer found it, I continued. Every transfer, every penny you took from our joint accounts and hid away, planning to leave me with nothing while you started fresh with your mistress. That's not just cheating, Marcus. That's theft. That's financial abuse. I was just, he stammered. Save it for the judge. For som dönans. I bad. You're going to need a good story. Marcus threw the divorce papers on the table. You know what? Fine. You want a divorce? You got it. But don't think you're getting half of everything. I worked for that money. I earned it. We worked for it, I said, standing up. While you were climbing the corporate ladder, who was raising Aaliyah? Who was managing the household? Who was supporting your career by taking care of everything else? Me. So yes, Marcus, I am getting half. In fact, after what you did, I might get more than half. This is crazy. You're being crazy. No, I'm being smart. Finally, after 23 years of being the understanding wife, the supportive partner, the woman who looked the other way every time you came home late, smelling like someone else's perfume, I'm finally being smart. Marcus grabbed his keys. I'm going to work. We'll talk about this later. No, I said, we won't. Any communication from here on goes through our lawyers. He slammed the door so hard, the pictures on the wall shook. I sat back down and finished my breakfast. It tasted even better after that. Later that day, Keisha came over with wine and takeout from Mama Jean's. Girl, I heard Marcus got served today, she said, setting bags of food on the counter. How do you feel? Relieved, I said honestly. And there's more. Simone's pregnant. Keisha dropped the wine bottle, literally dropped it. It bounced on the carpet, but didn't break. She's what? I told her about the text message, about blocking Simone's number, about Marcus's reaction to being served. Candace, Keisha said slowly, you are handling this better than any woman I have ever seen. Most women would be losing their minds right now. I lost my mind 6 weeks ago when I found that will, I said. Now I'm just getting my power back. Speaking of power, Keisha said, pulling out her phone, you need to see this. She showed me a Facebook post from Simone's page, a ultrasound picture with the caption, Blessed and grateful for this new chapter. Baby Green coming soon. Baby Green. She'd posted it publicly, with Marcus's last name. Oh, she's bold, I said. Girl, she's stupid, Keisha corrected. Does she not realize this makes your case even stronger? She's literally posting evidence that she's the mistress. My phone rang. It was Tyrell. Mrs. Green, have you seen social media today? Just saw it. Perfect. Screenshot everything. This is exactly the kind of evidence we need. She's publicly claiming the affair. This is going to make Marcus look terrible in court. When is the court date? Judge set it for 3 weeks from now. But Candace, I need to prepare you. Marcus hired a lawyer, Gerald Thompson. He's known for being aggressive and playing dirty. Let him play dirty, I said. We have the truth. The next 3 weeks were intense. Marcus moved into a hotel, or maybe into Simone's apartment. I didn't know and didn't care. He took some clothes but left most of his stuff. The house felt bigger without him, quieter, better. I went to work every day, counseled students about their problems, came home to my peaceful house, went to church on Sunday, had dinner with Keisha twice a week, started exercising again, started reading again, started remembering who Candace Marie Thompson was before she became Mrs. Brown. Marcus Green. Our daughter Aaliyah called me. She was in Atlanta finishing her master's degree. Mom, Dad called me crying. He says you're divorcing him and being unreasonable. He says he made a mistake, but you won't forgive him. Is that true? I took a deep breath. Baby, what did he tell you about his mistake? He said he had a brief thing with someone, but it didn't mean anything, and now you're trying to take everything from him. Did he tell you he had a 2-year affair? Did he tell you he updated his will to leave everything to his mistress? Did he tell you he stole $300,000 from our joint accounts? Did he tell you his mistress is pregnant? Silence. Mom, what? I told her everything, every detail, every lie, every betrayal. When I finished, Aaliyah was crying. I can't believe, Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry he did this to you. It's not your fault, baby. I told him if he hurt you, I would never forgive him, and he promised me. He looked me in my eyes and promised he would never. She couldn't finish. I know, sweetheart, but this is between me and your father. You don't have to choose sides. Yes, I do, Aaliyah said firmly, and I choose you. I choose you every time. That made me cry. Good tears this time. The day of court arrived. I wore my best navy blue suit, the one I'd bought for my mother's funeral but never worn since. Professional, dignified, strong, Tyrell met me outside the courthouse. You ready? He asked. I'm ready. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. The judge was a black woman in her 60s named Judge Patricia Freeman. She had kind eyes but a stern face. Marcus sat on the other side with his lawyer, Gerald Thompson, a white man in an expensive suit who looked like he'd never smiled in his life. We all stood when Judge Freeman entered. Be seated, she said. We're here for the divorce proceedings of Green versus Green. I've reviewed the filings from both sides. This looks complicated. Your Honor, Gerald Thompson stood up. My client is willing to offer a fair settlement. 50-50 split of all assets, no alimony, clean break. Your Honor, Tyrell stood up. We reject that offer. My client is entitled to alimony after 23 years of marriage, during which she supported her husband's career. Furthermore, we have evidence of marital misconduct and dissipation of assets that we believe entitles Mrs. Green to more than half. Judge Freeman looked at both lawyers. Show me this evidence. Tyrell presented everything. The credit card statements showing payments to Simone's apartment, the receipts for gifts and dinners, the secret bank account with $300,000, the will leaving everything to Simone, the social media posts about the pregnancy. Gerald Thompson tried to object, tried to minimize it, tried to claim it was all circumstantial, but Judge Freeman wasn't having it. Mr. Thompson, she said, her voice cutting through his excuses, your client updated his will to exclude his wife of 23 years in favor of his mistress. He opened a secret bank account and transferred marital funds without his wife's knowledge. He spent marital assets on maintaining a relationship with another woman. And now that woman is pregnant with his child, which she's announced publicly. This isn't circumstantial. This is a pattern of deliberate deception and financial misconduct. Marcus's lawyer sat down, looking defeated. Judge Freeman turned to Marcus. "Mr. Green, do you have anything to say for yourself?" Marcus stood up. "Your Honor, I made mistakes. I admit that. But I worked hard for everything we have. I provided for my family. You provided for 2 families," Judge Freeman interrupted. "Your wife's family and your mistress's family, using the same money that belonged to both you and your wife." "I was going to fix it," Marcus said desperately. "I was going to end things with Simone. I was going to change the will back. I just needed time. You had 2 years, I said. Everyone turned to look at me. You had 2 years to come clean, 2 years to be honest, 2 years to fix it. You didn't need more time, Marcus. You needed to get caught. Judge Freeman nodded. Mrs. Green is correct. Mr. Green, your actions show a deliberate plan to defraud your wife of her marital rights and property. Here is my ruling. Everyone in the courtroom held their breath. Mrs. Candace Green is awarded 60% of all marital assets, including the family home, which will be sold and the proceeds divided accordingly. She is awarded alimony in the amount of $3,000 per month for a period of 5 years. The $300,000 in the hidden account is to be returned to the marital estate and divided. Mr. Green will be responsible for all court costs and legal fees for both parties. Furthermore, any debts incurred for the benefit of the extramarital affair are to be considered Mr. Green's separate responsibility. Marcus looked like he'd been punched in the stomach. Your Honor, Gerald Thompson started. My ruling stands, Judge Freeman said firmly. And McGurnson, let this be a lesson. When you make vows to someone, you keep them. When you build a life with someone, you respect them. And when you have the blessing of a loyal spouse, you treasure them. You did none of those things. You don't get to keep what you destroyed. Divorce granted. She banged her gavel. It was over. I walked out of that courtroom with my head high. Tyrell was grinning. We did it, he said. We actually did it. No, I said. We did it. Thank you, Ty, for everything. Outside the courthouse, Keisha was waiting with Sister Dorothy and 3 other women from church. They had balloons and flowers. We heard you had court today, Sister Dorothy said, hugging me tight. We wanted to be here when you came out, to celebrate your freedom. I started crying again, happy tears this time, relieved tears, free tears. Marcus walked past us without saying a word, his lawyer trailing behind him. He looked small, defeated, nothing like the confident man who used to come home and expect everything to be done for him. That night, we had a celebration dinner at Mama Jean's. Keisha, Sister Dorothy, Tyrell, and half the women's ministry from church. We laughed and ate and toasted to new beginnings. You know what the best part is? Keisha said. You didn't just win in court. You won your dignity back. You won your self-respect back. You won yourself back. She was right. 3 months later, the house sold. I took my 60%, plus my half of everything else. After 23 years of marriage, I walked away with enough money to buy my own place, invest for retirement, and help Aaliyah with her student loans. I bought a beautiful townhouse on the other side of town. Smaller than the old house, but it was mine. All mine. Every mortgage payment I made was for me. Every bill I paid was for my home. Every decision about decorating, renovating, living, all mine. Aaliyah came home for Thanksgiving. We cooked together in my new kitchen, greens, mac and cheese, turkey, sweet potato pie, the whole spread. "Mom," she said while we were cooking, "you look different." "Different how?" "Lighter, happier, like you've been holding your breath for years and finally exhaled." "That's exactly what it feels like," I said. "Dad called me last week," she said quietly. "He wanted to know if I'd talk to you about maybe reconciling." I looked at my daughter. "What did you tell him?" "I told him no. I told him that some things can't be fixed, and that you deserve better than spending the rest of your life wondering if he's lying to you again." "Smart girl." "I learned from the best," she said, hugging me. That Christmas, I went to church on Christmas Eve like always. But this time, when Pastor Williams asked if anyone wanted to give testimony, I stood up. My legs were shaking as I walked to the front of the church. Everyone was looking at me. The whole congregation knew about the divorce. It's a black church. Everybody knows everybody's business. "Good evening, church family," I said into the microphone. "Good evening," they called back. Most of you know that I went through a divorce this year. It was hard. It was painful. There were days I didn't want to get out of bed. Days I questioned everything about myself. Days I wondered if I'd done something wrong, if I could have tried harder, if I could have been a better wife. People were nodding. Some women were crying, probably remembering their own pain. "But you know what I learned?" I continued. "I learned that you can do everything right, and things can still go wrong. I learned that you can love someone with your whole heart, and they can still choose to hurt you. I learned that sometimes the blessing isn't in what you gain, it's in what you lose." "Amen," someone called out. "I lost a husband, but I gained myself. I lost a marriage, but I gained my peace. I lost 23 years, but I gained the rest of my life. And church, let me tell you, freedom is worth everything I went through to get here." The church erupted in applause. Women were standing up, shouting, "Yes," and "Preach," and "Tell it." "So if you're going through something right now," I said, my voice stronger, "if you're in a situation where you feel trapped or stuck, or like you bent valve, hear me when I tell you that you can. You are stronger than you think. You are braver than you know. And you deserve better than whatever is making you feel less than who God created you to be." More applause. More amens. Don't wait for permission to be free. Don't wait for someone to change who's shown you they won't. Don't wait until you have nothing left. Choose yourself. Choose your peace. Choose your future. Because life is too short to spend it begging someone to see your worth. I sat down. The whole church was on their feet, clapping. Pastor Williams had tears in his eyes. After service, so many women came up to me. Some thanked me for sharing, some told me their own stories. Some asked for Tyrell's number, some just hugged me without saying anything. Sister Dorothy pulled me aside. "Candace, baby, you just set a lot of women free tonight, not just yourself, a lot of women." That's when I knew. Everything I'd been through wasn't just for me. It was so I could help someone else find their way out. 6 months after the divorce was final, I was in the grocery store when I saw Marcus. He was in the frozen food aisle with Simone, who was very pregnant now. They looked tired, they looked stressed. They looked like every other couple trying to make it work with a baby on the way. Our eyes met. I nodded. He nodded back. Then we both went back to our shopping. No drama, no anger, no tears. Just two people who used to be married, now living separate lives. As it should be. I ran into Keisha in the produce section. "Girl, I just saw Marcus with his pregnant girlfriend," I said. "How do you feel?" Keisha asked, studying my face. I thought about it, really thought about it. "Nothing," I said. "I feel nothing, and that feels amazing." That's when I knew I was really free. Today, I'm living my best life. I got a promotion at work. I'm traveling. Took a trip to Jamaica with Keisha last month. I'm dating, nothing serious yet, but I'm open to it. I'm active in my church. I'm helping other women who are going through divorces. I'm closer to Aaliyah than ever, and every night I sleep peacefully in my own house, in my own bed, with no one lying to me, cheating on me, or stealing from me. Marcus and Simone had their baby, a boy. Aaliyah went to meet him, her half-brother. She sends me pictures sometimes. He's cute. I wish them well, I really do. Because holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. I choose to let it go. I choose to move forward. I choose peace. Someone asked me recently if I regretted the 23 years I spent with Marcus. No, I said. Those years gave me my daughter. Those years taught me lessons I needed to learn. Those years showed me who I am when I'm pushed to my limit. I don't regret them, but I don't miss them either. And that's the truth. If you're reading this or listening to this, and you're in a situation like I was, hear me. You are not stuck. You are not trapped. You have options. You have strength you haven't tapped into yet. You have a future that's waiting for you on the other side of fear. It won't be easy. Leaving never is, but staying in something that's destroying you is harder. Trust me on that. Choose yourself. Choose your peace. Choose your freedom. You deserve it. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and feel free to share your story in the comments. Your voice matters.